Hey Stitchy friends, it's Carol, Saltbox Stitcher, back for video number
60.
Right on cue, right? This may get old really quickly, so I don't know if we'll keep doing that. Anyway, Happy New Year. It's January 1st, and hope you've had a good New Year's Day so far. I got up what I thought was 9 o'clock, but it was really 8 o'clock because I wasn't reading the clock correctly, so maybe I should have slept longer. I don't know. But anyway, we're trying out a new thing. My son got me, well, last year he got me a ring light. He's Mr. Techie. And this year he got me a microphone. So we'll see. So when I say those things that a lot of people say, I can't hear you, maybe you'll be able to hear them. Maybe you don't want to hear them. I don't know. Anyway, so I've got tons of stuff around me. I have most all of my WIPS here. I have what I've been stitching. I have a few things that I got as gifts and some quilt stuff. A little bit of everything. So anyway, first of all, I want to say happy birthday to Laura. This is her big birthday. Laura Duet, who is also known as the Serial Starter and also known as Maud and Mozart on Instagram. So happy birthday, Laura. I hope it's a great birthday, and I hope you get to do everything you want to do today. Sometimes for me that's just staying home and stitching or quilting or sewing or whatever. But in honor of Laura, this is her big birthday sal that a lot of people are starting. Penelope Tucker, kind of on Instagram. I think it's Penelope Tucker. I'm not sure whether it has an underscore. Anyway, she got everybody going on this. It's Elizabeth Isles by the Scarlet Letter. You can order directly from the Scarlet Letter. I ordered mine in kit form with the Veriswa. And to tell you the truth, today I'm going to be a serial starter. Even though I have all of these WIPS, they're stacked all the way almost to the ceiling. Believe that, and I'll tell you another one. No, but that makes it sound like I don't have so many when I actually show you that there's a chair's worth, right? Anyway, Elizabeth Isles, I am going to get started on this. I do like to do the border first. It says, all you, my friends, who now expect to see a piece of work thus performed, by me cast but a smile on this my mean endeavor. I'll strive to mend and be an obedient ever. Elizabeth Isles, age 9, March the 9th, 1799. So this is an oldie but goldie. I love Scarlet Letter charts. The angels in the border. I like to call it angels in the outfield. I know people have said they are going to do different color faces. I personally would rather do either Kreinik, gold, or silver faces. So that's what I may do. I don't know. I don't think angels. I think they're just like reflecting light. So I think anyway, that's just me. Anyway. So I am going to start this sometime today in honor of Laura's birthday. So what else have I been stitching? Okay, let me see if I can find everything I set here. So on my last video, I think I mentioned that I had started the Plum Street piece Sampler House 6, and I did finish this. Here's the chart. Plum Street, Sampler House 6. I had it started last time. This took me a little bit longer than I thought it would. But anytime you do a house, there's a lot of intense stitching, solid stitching. So anyway, I finished this, and this was my 30th finish for 2021. A lot of those were samplers, a couple were gifts, and a lot of those were smalls and a few were gifts, and then I think I did, it's either 10 or 12 samplers. Not necessarily that I started during the year, but that I finished. So I call it a finish, whatever year I finish it, regardless of what year I started it. And I keep track of my finishes and all that in the Book of Days. And this was this past year, 2021. And these are by Needlework Press, Book of Days. And this one is Sarah Gerard. And this has been since reproduced in a sampler. So I'd like to get the chart and stitch that at some point in time. One more thing. On this one, I stitched this with the called for colors on 40 count weathered shingle by R&R. My actual package said it was 36, but when I counted it, it was 40 count, which is great. I'd like to finish this sort of like in the fashion it is here, where it's more flat, maybe with a little bit of batting behind it, and then I could make it into an ornament. Or I think it would be really cute just framed in a small little frame. So that is Plum Street Samplers, Sampler House 6, done on 40 count weathered shingle by R&R. And then I'm going to pause for a second. I met with some friends yesterday in one of our stitching groups, and she said, "What do you put on? What do you write?" So, for example, this was February. So I might write, that I was working on Plum Street cereal bowl, and then if I'm working on the same thing, I just draw an arrow. This day I started Miss Manners, 36 count. So I do put the linen that I'm working on. But if I'm working on the same thing, I'll just draw an arrow across. But when I turn the page, if I'm working on the same thing, I do write it and then draw an arrow. So then on the side here, I put my finishes. So I'll know that and I will write also, like here it says, finish Miss Manners. So I will write it, when I finish something, I also put down if I do a video, so I can keep track of that. The only thing I wish I did, which I haven't been very good at, is keeping track of how many days I've worked on it. So in other words, if it goes from February and I don't pick it up again until August, and I worked on 3 days in February, then when I pick it up in August, I should start with day 4. That's been a little bit hard to keep track of, especially since I've been keeping these books since 2015. 2015, I didn't write a whole lot in. I started ramping it up a little bit in 2016. So I have all of these books, which are the Book of Days, for the years past, so that I can go back and say, okay, when did I actually start? If I could at least put a start date, I think that helps, because you'll see with all my WIPS that things don't always get finished in the year or even the month that I start them. So I have the 2022 ready to go. These are from Under the Woolen Willow, and I just use it to keep track of the book being open. So anyway, I put my first sticker from Shakespeare's Peddler, Kitten Stitcher, and I'm ready to go on my Book of Days. I don't always show that because usually I have in front of me what I've been stitching. The other thing that I've been stitching on is my Anne Grimshaw. A lot of people do starts around Christmas time. We're just really too busy. But let me go ahead and show you what else I worked on since I last did a video. I'll talk about my Christmas busyness in just a second, if you care to hear, but whatever. So right after Christmas, I picked up Anne Grimshaw. I had been working on this a little bit at the end of November, Modern Folk Embroidery. Jacob had suggested a black thread November. So I did pick this up a little bit at the end of November. This is Anne Grimshaw, 1818. This is by the Scarlet Letter. I've loved this for a long time. And I actually started it in 2018. I think that's Kitten Stitcher started hers about the same time. It was kind of the 200-year thing. But anyway, so I'm going to have my husband insert a picture of where I was on Anne Grimshaw on my last video. And then you can get a little bit of an idea of what I have done on this one. So this is where I am now. And I don't know if you'll remember or even care. But last time I told you that I had to pick some out, frog, in these floral motifs. So I did that, and once I picked it back up, I've been very cautiously counting to make sure I don't get off. So this is where I am now. I'm down to the alphabet on this one side. I will go ahead and finish that A before I take my needle out, because I don't know when I'll pick this up again. I do love this. I'm doing it on 36 count pecan butter by Lakeside. This is on a fat half, and I think the finished size will be about 18.5 by 24.5. So I'm loving doing this. I haven't done very many Quakers, but once I did like a token of love, that one for my son and his wife as a wedding gift. And I have done a few, smaller pieces, but as far as a big Quaker, I would love to do some more. So, and I have a couple kitted, which is no big surprise. But anyway, so this is my Anne Grimshaw. I did the outline because I like to have stability in my life, I guess. I don't know. I like to do an outline, make sure it matches, and then do the inside. So, times when I'm not wanting to really think really hard, I'll go ahead and do an outline and then move on. This one I did the outline and then went ahead and filled it in so I could get down to the alphabet. So that is my Anne Grimshaw. This was another thing I worked on after Christmas, and I am using Gloriana Antique Black. So Christmas for us is really busy. We were having Christmas dinner at our house on Thursday, which would have been Christmas Eve, the 23rd. I basically cooked all day, which is pretty tiring for me, at my age. But I made a bunch of casseroles, some salads, all that kind of stuff, put it in the refrigerator, didn't bake anything. And then so that was Christmas Eve, the 23rd. And then I didn't do any stitching for like 3 days, 23rd, 24th, or 25th. And then I picked Anne Grimshaw back up on the 26th. So on Friday, then on Christmas Eve day, I got up, I baked a red velvet cake and got that ready to go. And then did a little more cooking. We went to church for the Christmas Eve service at 5 something. Then we went over to my daughter's house, and we had kids got to open a few presents. We had snacks and charcuterie and sandwiches and that kind of thing. And so it was about, I don't know, getting close to 9:30, and my daughter said to Camille, who's 6, Camille, why don't you go take your Z medicine so you can fall asleep before Santa comes. Now, she has a little bit of trouble falling asleep, so she gives her like, I don't know, 0.1 melatonin for kids. Don't judge me. That's her. So I said to Camille, can I have your Z medicine so that I can fall asleep before Santa comes? And she said, oh, yeah, sure. Wait, are you driving? Oh, out of the mouth of babes. Crack me up. So that was Christmas Eve. Christmas morning, we got up at 6ish, and I took my son. I call it monkey bread. It's those frozen yeast rolls, and then you put a cup of sugar, a cup of brown sugar, a package of butterscotch pudding, not instant, the cook and stir kind, and a stick of butter. And you set that out on Christmas Eve. And you spray a bundt pan and you put it in there. And then it rises overnight. And so then you bake it, 350 for 25 minutes, something like that. Don't let it get too brown. And then when it comes out of the oven, you flip it. And then you have all those pull apart rolls. We call it monkey bread. I don't know how it got that name, but anyway. Well, my daughter-in-law made it one year and she didn't think it turned out right. So I told my son, it's his favorite part of Christmas morning, other than presents, but he's 31 years old. So I said, well, I'll make you a monkey bread and I'll bring it out to your house. So I brought out a monkey bread. We got to his house maybe, 7:45. Then we went to my daughter's house so the kids could open their presents from Santa. Then about noon, we left. Oh, she had made monkey bread for us. I can't have it because I have to eat gluten-free. But anyway, so we had breakfast at her house. And then we came home. And about noon, my son came over and his wife. And then I started cooking. We had prime rib. I think I took a picture and showed it on Instagram. The table was ready. And so then my daughter came over. We had Christmas dinner. And then we opened presents. And then my daughter, they left about 9 something with the kids. Oh, and Bailey was here. My son's Golden, my grand dog. And so then my son and his wife stayed till 12:30, which is fine. I stay up that late. But we just sat around talking, and anyway, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. Wonderful Christmas, but not any stitching. So anyway, so those are the 2 pieces I have been stitching. And then next I'm going to show you, I have one other thing I stitched. And it was a gift, so I didn't show it. I stitched this, Pineberry Lane, A Touch of Friendship. This was a Dying to Stitch kit. And I stitched it for Heidi Moore. Heidi showed it on her Instagram. And I'll show a picture of that here. This is a screenshot from her Instagram. I don't know why I didn't take a picture before I sent it, but I didn't. So then, that was part of our Christmas. We have a floss tuber FaceTime group, and we drew names, and I had Heidi's name, so that's what I stitched for Heidi. Heidi Moore on it might be Heidi _Moore. I don't know. I just look up Heidi and then it comes up because I follow her. So interestingly enough, we met on FaceTime on Tuesday before Christmas, the 21st. And everybody opened their gifts, and it got down to where it was only Heidi and me. Well, I already knew my gift was from her because I had gotten it in the mail. She lives in Canada. So her and I were the last 2, and we had each other. So this is what she made me, and I love it. It's primitive, has the little wool. Great job, Heidi. I'm not exactly sure what pattern this is. I would have to ask her. But I love it. I don't know if it's homespun. I don't know who it is, so I better not say. And then as a little additional gift, she gave me this, which is like a puzzle nativity. Hold on here. Part of it's... I thought, this will be great fun for Camille. It's just fun. And you can pull out different pieces so it can sit forward or back. I thought that was really cool. She said she had a friend of hers that makes them. So anyway. And then I got some other little goodies and some candy and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that was my gift from Heidi. I got another gift. My husband got me this book for Christmas, Red and Green Quilts. I love it. It has a quilt in here by my friend Susan, Yard Girl. Let me find hers. It's like a conglomerate of quilt patterns by different designers. It's put out by Martingale, Red and Green Quilts. Has some easier ones, has some harder ones. That's Susan's contribution. Most of them are Christmassy, obviously, because they're red and green, but they don't have to be. So I got that. And then a sweet lady named Amanda messaged me, and she said, I'm designing a chart for you. What? I was blown away. So if you've been following my last few videos, a couple times ago, I don't remember what video it was. I think it was the one right after, like the first week of December. So maybe 58. I was telling you a story about how we were cleaning and I couldn't remember the name of the little thing that you sweep into when you sweep the floor. So I took it into my husband and I said, what is this called? And he said, dustpan. And I told you I would never live it down. It was only by the grace of God when he said 60 this morning, he did not say dustpan. Because on my last video, he said video 59, dustpan. So anyway, her name is Amanda. She is Ardith Designs. I'm hoping she eventually makes this available. Relax and Stitch, dustpan, quilting, dust bunnies, long arm, quilt blocks, a lot of things that are special to me. And she said, this is a fun chart I created after watching Carol of Saltbox Stitcher on YouTube. Anyway, I thought that was so sweet. Ardith Designs. I don't know if she's going to have that put out yet or not. But anyway, if she's going to release it. She's the same one that did this wonderful book that you can log your stitching in. It's called Sampler Stitching Notebook for Keeping Track of My Sampler Stitching and Other Historic Needlework Projects. Her design name is Ardith Designs. Her first name is Amanda. So thank you, Amanda. That was over the top, fun, and just, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I was so surprised and so pleased that you would even think to do that for me. Anyway. So what else did I get? I didn't have really, I had one piece of haul I ordered from the Attic. I'm a little late to the party. D fry tag. It's slick like that, so it's not a reflection. Well, it is a reflection, but it's not in plastic. D fry tag 1849 by Needle Art by Wendy. From the Heart, Needle Art by Wendy. And I love this. I've wanted it ever since I saw it. It does have a piece that says Merry Christmas, but obviously you don't have to do that. And I have some of the Gloriana. I'm going to have to order some of the other ones. I was going to get the silks from the Attic as well, but she said they're really low on Gloriana. So I said, well, go ahead and send me the chart. And I'll pull what I have, and then I'll just add what I need when time comes. So these are all the called for, and I'm missing some. But you can see there's wonderful colors. And I've decided I'm going to do it on, this is a piece of Brea, B-R-E-A, Brea, by Needle and Flax. This is 40 count Brea. I got a fat quarter from the Attic. I also have some Needle and Flax linen that I've ordered, but it hasn't come yet, and that is fine because Rachel is a one-person business. So, okay, so next, I guess, let me look at, I did make a note. Recent stitching, gifts, haul, WIPS. Are you ready? Now, there's a pretty high possibility that some of these are going to fall on the floor. So, don't panic if you hear a large crash. Oh, before I show you WIPS, I talked about how I want to do a monogamous stitch in January. So I'm going to start the Elizabeth Isles in honor of Laura and her birthday. And then I am down to 2 possibilities for what I want to start. Now, I do not want to have more WIPS. So as the year goes forward, I hope you really think I can stick with this, because this is my goal. Now, when market comes around in March or April, whenever it is, May, whatever, things may go haywire. But for now, until I get some of my WIPS finished, I'm not going to start anything new. Believe that? Okay. So it's down to 2 that I'm going to start today. So I'm going to start my Elizabeth Isles for a little bit. I'm going to be a serial starter. And then it's down to 2. And when I actually pick it up to stitch it is when I'll decide. The first one is this. This is called Country House Sampler by Brenda Keys, also known as the Sampler Company. The Sampler Company, Brenda Keys. I love this. I love it, love it, love it. And I really want to do this. So I have it kitted. Again, I showed you this last time. DMC. Oops, that's a little bit of a mess. And I have a piece of American Chestnut 36, and I have a piece of Old Town Blend, which is 40. I'm leaning toward the Old Town Blend. They're close, but this is just a hair darker, the Old Town Blend. So I will let you know next time what actually happened. Because as of right now, I still can't decide. So, sorry, there's a lot of scrunching. Let me get this back. If I don't put things, I don't have a Brenda to toss things over to. You know, sometimes I think it would really be nice to have a partner to do these with. But I've been doing it by myself forever, so I guess I won't stop now. Okay, the second one that is the 2 of 2, which I might choose, is Snooty Parrots. I love this. I've loved this forever and ever and ever. This is by Barbara Anna. Creative Poppies. You can download it. I think this came out in 2013. And this one I have kitted with some vintage exemplar. This is 36 count. I don't know. I may change because I have some others that I might end up using. Snooty Parrots. Also, oh no, it's overdyed. But also kind of brightish colors. There's some teal in there. More what I would call traditional colors. So when I sit down to stitch tonight, we'll see. I don't want to do 2, but I really, at this point, they're neck and neck as far as which one I want to do. Well, I want to do both. But what is going to be my monogamous, oh, come on, Carol. My monogamous January stitch. Okay, let me put those back in the project bag. I'm going to have the pattern destroyed by the time I get it in. Now, what would be really nice is if it only took me 2 weeks to finish one, and then I could finish the other one. That's lofty thinking. Okay. Here we go. Get ready. WIP Parade 2022. This is also good for me because then I can go back and I can say, okay, that was definitely a WIP at the end of 2021. So I started 2022 with that WIP. And I will make a list of these and put it in my book of days in the back, probably. This is this year's, but I just want to show you. So I've done it before. This last year I didn't. But I take this very last back page and list all of my WIPs that I start the year with. So on the back page of my 2022, I will have all of my WIPs for the most part. I have some seasonal WIPs I'm not counting. So the first one is Coming to America by Brenda Gervais. This is the Mayflower one. Many people have already stitched it. I have the border finished. This is on the called for, which I believe is maybe Brenda's Brew or Mayflower Brew. Vintage, oh no, this is Vintage Country Mocha, is it? Yeah, it is. And this is where I am on this. So I have the border done, but then I just have a little bit of the ship. So needs to be refolded in a different way so it doesn't get permanent wrinkles. So these aren't in order of how I'm going to stitch them or anything. This is just, it's just a parade. I love a parade. Oh, that was bad, Carol. The next one, which I really, really, really want to finish. See, this was my dilemma on starting a new thing. It's like you have some wonderful WIPs that you need to finish. The next one is Ann Rayner. Ann Rayner Sampler, 1839. It's by Threads Through Time. Don't think it's available except on the secondary market. And I forgot to tell you, on the Mayflower one, I'm using the Coming to America. I'm using the called for. And this Ann Rayner, I have a lot of, I'm using silks for the most part. I think there might be a couple of overdyed in here. I'm using a combination of NPIs and Belsois and Gloriana. And I got this conversion from Paulette on her Plum Street blog. So that is Ann Rayner, and here is, let's see. This one I think I'm using buttercream. Whoops, goes this way. I have some bands done, but not a lot of anything else. So Ann Rayner, I desperately want to get back to this. The other thing I've started doing, I don't have it done on this, is whenever I put a tag on the ring, and I use different kinds of tags. Like this says Ann Rayner. I didn't do it on this, and I'll have to go back and research in my books what I'm using. But I like to put it on the back of the tag. So then if I'm showing it in a floss tube, I don't have to say, well, I don't know what linen this is. This is a mystery. I can just look on the back of the tag. Okay, some of these are going to go down. Oh my gosh, are we already at 30 minutes? It can't be. The next one, and I've shown you this multiple times recently. This is Jane Atkinson by the Scarlet Letter. And I'm using a Versoix. And on this one, I don't know what linen I'm using. Oh, I do. Oh, let's see. It's by Lakeside. It's got a greenish tint. What is it called? I don't remember. If I remember, I'll have my husband put in the trailer. Doggone it. It's right. It's real close. So this is my Jane Atkinson. You know, some of these, if you go to Instagram and you search and use a hashtag for hashtag Jane Atkinson or hashtag the Scarlet Letter, not Scarlet House, Scarlet Letter, you will see a lot of pictures that people, as they've posted, as they're working on it. So it might inspire you even more. That is really going to bug me. Hopefully I'll think of that before the end of the video, what the name of that linen is. I have it in a Stitch Folk bag. I don't have a lot of them, but I have a few. This next group is Blackbird. I have two different big things of Blackbird. This one is Little Birds. Came out a couple years ago by Blackbird. This is on, it's a Picture This Plus linen. It's not Legacy. What is it? Hold on. I'm going to tell you this time. Maybe. I thought I was organized. What happened? This is on Velt by Picture This Plus, which, sorry, I need to silence my watch. Everybody's like sending me texts. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. I don't have a lot of this done. That was weird. I was just about to say Christy Green, Daisy Case Primitives is working on this, and she just texted me Happy New Year. I have to do. Twilight Zone. Remember that show? Probably not. Anyway, there it is. I don't have a lot done, but a little bit. So definitely want to finish because we want to not only buy all the Blackbirds, we want to finish all the Blackbirds. And I'm using the called for on that one. The next one I have in here is Come Into My Garden. This was purchased, it wasn't part of the retreat, but I purchased it at Country Sampler in, oh gosh, I think it was 2019. So this is where I am on this one. I have the border finished. And this is done on, okay, you would ask. Come Into My Garden is also done on Velt, 36 count Velt by Picture This Plus. Okay, so I have Start on the House. So that would be a great one to get back to. When I get to an hour, I may pause the video and come back, either do a part 1 and part 2, because I also have just a few cool things that I want to work on next year. The next one, another Stitch Folk bag, and this is by Just Stitching Along. This is Miss Lucy Calcott, 1825. There's also a Lucy Calcott, I think it's 1826. It's a little bit smaller. I'm also using a Vera Soie on this one. I started this one in February of 2021. And see, I wrote down here, 40 count, you can't see that, but 40 count light exemplar. So this one I know what the fabric is. I've gone all the way around on the border. So a lot of these don't have a lot done. So I guess I was in a serial starting mode. I don't know. Because I don't think I worked on that one very much. You know, there's always the theory, okay, should I go ahead and start something and at least have it started? Or should I wait until I'm ready to work on it completely? I don't know the answer to that. If you figure it out, let me know. Okay, the next one is Village of Hawk Run Hollow. This is by Carriage House. And this one, I'm using the NPIs. Don't gasp. This is 36 count sand dune by Lakeside. And I have all of the outlines and I'm working on the second block. Not a lot done, but looks like I have a lot that are kind of in the same stage where I've done a little bit on the inner part and mostly the border. So you can't very well say, well, I haven't done the border, because I have. Okay, the next one, more Blackbird. This one, and I know there's a mistake in it because someone pointed that out to me. So I'll make sure that I say that I know that there's a mistake. I've made a mistake. I know you find that very hard to believe. This one is called Maria Selby Humphrey, 1831. This is the actual antique. The Blackbird Girls did not restitch it into, so they just charted the antique. I am using the called for overdyes. And this one, I have quite a bit of it done, but I realized that I wrote COMMON for common. No, I wrote CONM, like conman, instead of common mind. So I need to just take out the MON on the end. I'm not going to worry about the spacing. I don't think I'll take out mind. I might. I don't know, knowing me. This one is on, I'm pretty sure this is 40 count exemplar by Lakeside. So Maria Selby Humphrey by Blackbird. And then one of the Blackbird weekends that Brenda and Laura started last year, I started this one. It's Berry Time, also by Blackbird. This was Loose Feathers number 37. I don't think this is available. My original kit had like 30 count linen, and I picked a piece of 40, and this is where I worked on that like one weekend was all, on a Blackbird weekend. So that would not be, that might be, I'm going to set this out. This might be a good February stitch to finish that. And the thread I'm using is, I think I'm using the called for thread. I am Wild Berries by Classic Colorworks. It's a nice variegated. My bag is by Christy, Crosshatch Quilts. I actually sent her the fabric to make this. And it's Blackbird fabric, so I always know when I pick it up, it's Blackbird. Next one. Are you bored yet? I love this one, and there's no excuse why I haven't finished this one because I absolutely love it. 1,000 Hills. There's a lot of stitching in this. May not seem like it, but there's a lot of stitching. Sorry for the glare. It's by Plum Street, 1,000 Hills. I'm using the overdyes, and I'm not very far on this one. This is on a piece of R&R. Let me see what it is. Winter Brew. And I'm using the called for, which are really pretty. That's another one that I want to get back to. So I don't have a huge start on it, but I just love that. I did not do the border on this because there's a lot of interruptions on the border by the flowers. So that one I may not stitch the whole border first. I may just go with it as I go. Another one that I started that I'd love to get back to is also by Plum Street. This is called Brother's Keeper. Plum Street. It's about Cain and Abel. I don't have very far on this. This I'm using 36 count vintage exemplar by Lakeside. And that's how far I am on that. Not enough to write home about. Another one. I had a friend. She used to be in our stitching group and then she moved. Her name was Janet and she had that finished. And it was so gorgeous at the time, years ago. I was like, oh, I have to have that chart. And I kitted it. And then I started it this year. And for a while, 36 count was my go-to. And now 40 count's pretty much my go-to. So I have a lot of things that I've started that are on 36. But I don't want to discard them. Because like my Anne Grimshaw's on 36. And some of my other pieces I have around here are 36. This is actually, I think, on 30 count. Did that years ago. This is another Plum Street. This is called 7 Days of Creation by Plum Street. It's a lot of words. It's from Genesis, and this is all I have done on that. And this is a piece of 36 count vintage exemplar. So that is another one. So Thousand Hills. There's also a number of other ones by Plum Street. There's The Flood. What's the other one? There's another one that's like Noah's Ark that I'd like to work on at some point. I just hope I live long enough to do all these. Here's another one that's a lifetime, I should say, thing. And this is And They Sinned. Here's a picture of it. Most of you that are familiar with this know that it's a huge piece. I'm not sure my linen on this. This is where I am. I did rip out the whole cloud that I had started. I didn't like the color of it. So I've decided to redo the cloud with, here's another better picture of it. And They Sinned. I think I'm going to use old blue paint for the rest of my cloud. I want a bluish gray, and I think the old blue paint is a good bluish gray. It originally called for Pebble, but Pebble can be really gray, and I wanted just a little more blue. You can tell a little bit of difference. So anyway, I don't know if this is encouraging or depressing. Yesterday when we met with some friends of mine that we stitched together, and I said I was going to do a whip parade, and I had about 50 whips. One girl was like, "You have 50 whips?" "Yes, Karen, I have 50 whips." Another gal said, she said, "I only have like 5." And another gal said, "Well, I think I only have like 10. I'm like, "Nah. That wasn't very nice, was it? Someday, maybe next year, I'll come back and say, well, I'm down to 10 whips. This is by Lottie Da. This is called the Elizabeth Jones Sampler. I was kind of on this kick to just start a bunch of things this summer. Maybe it was 2020, I don't know. This is the one I wasn't really sure what this was. If you've watched, oh no, this guy right here. And I think it's some sort of a bird that's piercing his breast, and it's supposed to symbolize Christ and his sacrifice on the cross. I'm using DMC. And I'm nowhere. I did just a little bit of the border. Oh my gosh. Carol Saltbox Stitcher, the Serial Starter. Title. Okay, next. These are Scarlet House. And you know I love, love, love Scarlet House. This one is, if I can get by without taking them out of the plastic, it'll go faster if I don't. So this is Jane Cowie. This was released, I want to say year before last at Market. Jane Cowie. I love this. It's got a lot of over one. So that's definitely in my future. And I'm using 40 count Meadow Rue by Lakeside. And this is where I am on that. So I have quite a bit of that. The whole border except for the flowers. This has also got to go top of my list. And I'm using the called for NPI on that. Next one, and this is my oldest WIP, unless it's a seasonal something. You know, like this past year I finished that Prairie Schooler Santa on that Claustron, which I know I forgot the nose. I had a lot of people say, you forgot the nose on Rudolph. So I went back and finished the nose. But this is my oldest WIP. This is Ellen Strick. I'm pretty sure Brenda has the antique at her house. But Tanya Scarlet House charted this one. For some odd reason, with all the over one, I decided to do it on 46 count. Oops. Let me show you the front instead of the back. This is where I am. It's not huge, but there is tons of over one. And for some odd reason, I decided to do full crosses on 46 count. I could have easily done a 10 stitch. But I'm using the Tudor Silks. I don't know where they are. They're in here somewhere. Somewhere. Yeah, here they are. And Tudor Silks are much finer. F-I-N-E-R, finer. Very, very neutral. This is another one. I think I started this in 2016. Come on, Carol. Get with the program. So that's Ellen Strick by the Scarlet House, and that is a definite. So this whole, I have 4 projects in here, and they all need to be finished ASAP. This is another one, Mary Lindley by the Scarlet House. This is not huge. I have the border almost finished. I think it goes this way. And that one, I am using the silks, of which most of them. There's one NPI, but the rest are all Classic Colorworks Belsois. What's my deal? Huh? What is my deal? This last one by Scarlet House is Anne Long. I'm using 37 count Wild Honey by Legacy. Anne Long by the Scarlet House. Again, a lot of over one. This is the one that has a lot about bees. The bee. Again, I'm using a combination of silks, Gloriana, Belsois, and NPI. It's the called for. And like I said, I'm using 37 count Legacy Wild Honey. Now, Legacy fabrics, the color corresponds to the count. So in other words, 37 count Wild Honey. If you got it in 45 count, you wouldn't be able to get Wild Honey. It's a different name, even though it's the same color. Does that make sense? And that's where I am on this one. Not very far. Has a little bit of a pinkish cast. It's beautiful. It called for vintage exemplar, but I decided to do it on that Wild Honey, so we'll see. Okay, let me just stuff some of this back in. I have one project bag. Also a project bag made by Christy of Crosshatch Quilts. Oh, here's a fancy project bag. This is another one. This isn't very big and I need to get it finished. You know, a lot of people come up with a word for the year. My word for the year is going to be finish. I was pretty good this year about quilts. I finished a lot of quilts that were in stages. And I still have some. And I'm going to show you later quilts that I want to specifically finish this year. Hopefully. This one is by the City Stitcher, Adam and Eve sampler. I saw this on Tanya's wall. Tanya being the Scarlet House, Tanya Brockmeyer. Loved it. Came home, figured out I had the pattern. So I started this. This I have a little bit more done on. Not a lot. Oops, that is a very wrinkly. Okay. Is that better? A little bit, not much. So another one that I need to finish. This is on 40 count. Looks like sand dune. I don't know if it's vintage or not, but this is the part I have finished. And this one does have some specialty stitches. Like here, there's eyelet stitches on that band or border, whatever. Again, City Stitcher, Adam and Eve sampler. City Stitcher, and this one I'm using DMCs. City Stitcher also does quilt patterns. So I think you can find, I think she still has a website, City Stitcher. This is by Shakespeare's Peddler, Sweet Temper. Love this. This one I put aside because I got mad at myself for not reading the chart. This one I have a combination of silks, Gloriana, NPIs. The ones in the bag are NPIs. Which, by the way, anything that comes in a skein like this, with the covering like that in a skein, goes in a floss away bag, with the exception of DMC. DMC, I go ahead and I put on thread drops. And I just put the name, DMC. Everything else is in a, if it comes hanging, I leave it hanging. If it comes on a skein, I put it in floss away bags. So this is Sweet Temper. This one I was working on the border, got all the way to the bottom and realized that's supposed to be satin stitched on the bottom border. And it's not like I can say, oh, well, I'll just do it, because the whole bottom border is satin stitched. So I'm going to have to go back and it won't take that long. But sometimes when you have to fix something to start something, it's a little bit discouraging. So it's not like I don't have anything else to do. Here's another fancy bag. Okay, I love this piece. What in the world am I thinking that I haven't gotten back to this? Because I love this. I did my own conversion to silks in I want to say 2017, maybe 2018. I went to Stitchville because I went to the fall, back then it was called the Midwest Retreat, put on by Michelle Rudy. Now they're in Amana and they're called the Farm Girl Dry Goods Retreats. But I remember I had taken the DMC and I went around and I picked silks that were close. And if they were really, really bright DMC, then I went like down a notch when I picked the silk. Let me see an example here. For example, the DMC on this is brighter, so I just went down a notch. I was pretty proud of myself. And you're like, okay, Carol, what's the chart? This is Mary Gibson. I love this. What the heck is my deal? Maybe I'll start this in March. So February, maybe I'll work on that basket, the berry bowl basket by Blackbird, and that Adam and Eve sampler. Get those done. And maybe this will be my March work. I don't have a lot done. I'd love to say I do, but I don't. I would really love to say that I had a lot done on it. I'm going around. Whoops, here we go. Going around. I have part of the border done. Started on the band. It's going to be gorgeous. Look at that. It's going to be gorgeous. And this is probably Vintage Light Exemplar. And this is 40 count. And like I said, I did my own silk conversion. This is by the Haslemere Museum, Mary Gibson. I want to say you can still get this. This is a museum that's in the UK. I downloaded it, I think. I'm pretty sure I did. I was going to tell you the size, but you can kind of tell. See, I went through, did my own conversion. If anybody's interested, I'll be glad to send it to you because it's not a big deal to me. Okay, so that's another one. What happened to the bag for this one? I don't know. Maybe they're both in here. That needs to be set out. Sometimes if they're in front of your face, you'll remember them better. Okay, I'm almost to an hour. I'm going to try to go a little more on these, and then I'm going to do a break, and do the rest of my WIPS and quilts. The next is a plantation sampler, which was kindly gifted to me. This is an out-of-print chart. I love it. I definitely am using Vintage Beeswax. This is by R&R. I have quite a bit of this finished. Let me make sure I show you the right side. I can't tell you how many times I've watched a video that I did. I was watching it one time, preferably before it gets uploaded, because in case it has any glaring errors, which sometimes they do, and we just say, okay, whatever. Anyway, sometimes I show them to you backwards. It's like, Carol, turn it around. Anyway, plantation sampler. I actually have quite a bit of this done. I mean, not a lot, but more than just the border. It's beautiful. It's going to be beautiful on this fabric. Again, 36 count vintage beeswax. And here's the chart again. Plantation sampler. This is by Canterbury Designs. Which, by the way, 1803 farm... No, what is it? I have to look this up real quick. Because this person is... okay, hold on. 1803. Whoops. 1803. Nope, that's not it. 1830. I can't think of it. I'll think of it maybe. Anyway, she's somebody that's reproducing a lot of older samplers that have been out of print. Anyway, plantation sampler, that's another one. Wait a minute. If I don't put it back in the project bag, I'll be wondering where it goes. Sometimes it's motivating, though. You get these out and you say, I just need to get these done. This one I have quite a bit done, too. This is by the Scarlet House, and this is Hannah Tingy. Oh, I think I know a way to figure it out. I think I put something in my cart. 1884 Stitchery. That's what it is. 1884 Stitchery. I'll try to remember to put it in my McKenna. 1884 Stitchery. She's reproducing a lot of charts. This is one that I specifically want to get, Jane Harris. You know, because I don't have anything to stitch. So 1884 Stitchery on Instagram, McKenna. Whew, glad I thought of that. Okay, so this is Hannah Tingy, 1823 by the Scarlet House. This one I started last year around Thanksgiving. This is where I am on this one. Another one that I just need to get done. It has a lot of over one, but I've already started it, so yeah. This is the one I don't like the reindeer's big eyeballs. Because I'm weird. I don't like those big black eyeballs. I just think they're kind of spooky. Okay, here we go again. Wait, what was this? Oh, this one. These are my Hands Across the Sea. The first one is, let's see, is it Anne? Yeah, Anne Tong Ufendel by Hats, Hands Across the Sea. I'm using a Vera Soie. I have it in a floss ring binder by Suzette, who is the Primitive Stitcher. You can buy her things like this on Facebook. The Primitive Stitcher, Suzette. So those are my, whoops, those are my Vera Soie flosses. And here's where I am on this one. I would love to get this finished. It's just so beautiful. Look at that flower. Just gorgeous. So the border's all the way done. And I mean, it's done, meaning the outline. When I say the border's done, I just mean the outline of it. So that's one. The other one was a fail. A lot of people did this one. Ann Morrison. I was a long way from being finished and winning the antique. But I love it. This one I'm doing on 45 count Jersey Cream Linen by Legacy, and I have a tiny start. I have a tiny start on the border. Definitely would like to get back to this. And this one I'm using the 103 spools. I don't have them in the bag with me. They're in a container. So that was a stitch along from Traditional Stitches in Canada. So far my brain's working pretty good. I still haven't thought of that linen though that I'm using for Jane Atkinson. Lakeside. Couple more. A couple of these are Brenda Gervais. This is Manor at Quaker Hill. I'm going to show it to you like this. And then I'll show it to you like this. Manor at Quaker Hill by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. And here's the threads, all of the called for threads. Oops. Oops, if I get out the right piece. And here's where I am on this one. And this one is on, I think it's either Oaken or Wren by Picture This Plus. Okay. Let me see what it calls for, and then I can tell you, because I probably had the called for. Maybe. Okay, it's not right. There Duet is on, oh, Legacy. I'm not using Legacy. I'm using, I think it's Ren. Either Ren or Oaken. Because it's more brown than Legacy. The other Brenda Gervais one that I have in here is Needle and Flax, which I love this. I love that girl. Love her hippie skirt where she has her pin cushions and spools. This one I'm not very far. I'm using the Called For. And this is on, actually don't know if it's 36 or 40 count, but this is Mellow by Picture This Plus. And that's where I am. Working on the bottom border. You can see it says thread. So those are a couple of Brenda Gervais ones. Oh, this one. Here's another. Here's another one. Surprise, surprise. This is the Brick House. Whoops. You don't want to see the, well, maybe. The Brick House sampler. I love this. Why? I really don't know if this is discouraging or motivating. In some ways it's motivating. It's like, oh yeah, I have all these started. I can just pick up anything and stitch. Then I have a whole huge cabinet full of things I'd like to stitch. So anyway, this is Brick House. I have a little bit of that bottom, beautiful bottom border done. What I need to do is set some goals. I'm not a list maker. And I'm not a, I can make goals in my mind, but if I write them down and I don't fulfill them, then I feel like a failure, which is really stupid, but that's how my brain thinks. So consequently, I don't write them down. But what I would like to do, I don't want to do a rotation because I don't like me bossing me. Oh my, I just had a label fall off. Oh well. They're all Brenda Gervais in this bag, so. This is a bag I made a long time ago. I don't like me bossing me. So I don't want to be told what to do by myself. So I can have them in my brain and then sort of think, okay, maybe I'll get to that. But I don't really want to do a rotation. Because, you know, I might be stitching on something and then all of a sudden it says I have to switch and then I'll be like, no, I wanted to keep stitching on this. I'm close to being done. And I know you can break your own rules, but I don't have a lot more. This is in here, but this one, oh, this is Savior's Praise, but I decided to restart that, so I haven't really started it. This is Kitten Stitcher, Shakespeare's Peddler. This one is called Maria Finney. I have a little bit done on this. This was a kit from Country Sampler at some point in time. That's where I am on that. Some of the border done. Oh, it's on the bottom. This goes like this. So I really like that. It's the Called For over dies. Let's see if I can find them here. Yeah, here's Maria Finney. They're pretty much neutrals. And a little bit of gold. And then I have my, for the Parlor series, which I haven't done anymore. This is the Parlor series by Shakespeare's Peddler. Kitten Stitcher. I have the first part done. Let's see. Yeah. I have this part done. And I'm ready to start Eden Was a Paradise. The second one. I think I have most of the threads for that. This is done on 36 count Ren. I'm getting close. So I also have Savior's Praise in there, but the little bit of a start, I didn't want to start it because I ended up getting the silk conversion from the Attic, and so I wanted to restart it with the silks. So it's not really a WIP. Oh, a couple more. This is another Scarlet Letter. This is Jenny Bean for the parlor. I have a Verissois, and I have a start on the border for that one, and it's on black. I want to say this is 32 count, just Weigart black, and with one strand. And then I have this one, which is the New England sampler, and this one is on 40 count. This is a Fox and Rabbit. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see if I wrote it down. Yes, I did. 40 count Seaweed by Fox and Rabbit. It's the closest in my mind to the what they called Lindsay Woolsey, the green. So that's where. Am I showing the right side? Nope, I'm not. This is where I am on this one. And even though it's 40 count and dark, I'm having not too hard of a time at all stitching this. That's the New England sampler by Scarlet Letter. So my desire to put everything back in the bags has kind of gone by the wayside here. So today, it's Decoration Down Day, DD Day, Decorations Down. I did redo my little area here. This is a Kim Deal. It was some sort of kit of the month. This one, I'm not sure. I think it's by Hands to Work. It's an old one. I want to say it's for Hetty, Hetty. I know those are the words on it. So the next one is the Lucy Red sampler. I love this. Love it. Why haven't I done more? Well, this was one of those ones where I was like, do I like the color linen? Do I not like the color linen? Now you will notice on the chart, this top row right here is not very clear. It's kind of ghosty. And likewise, this is 40 count vintage exemplar. And likewise, mine is kind of ghosty. So I think I was like kind of discouraged. There's a little bit more. But I would like to get back to that. And this is without floss. Oh no, here it is. That one's DMC. So you can see I do DMC, I do silks, I do over dyes, I do it all. No, I don't do it all, but you know what I mean. I use them all. This one is another Hands Across the Sea. This is Louisa Coulimore. Red sampler. And this one I'm using a hank of, the fabric is Fox and Rabbit 40 count hog bristle. And let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm using a hank. This is the hank I'm using, and it's a Soie d'Alger. Let me see if I can tell you the color. 2925. Louisa Coulimore. I have the first row finished. It won't take near this. This is a fat half, but I don't want to cut it until, I think I'm all the way across now, but I'll wait until I go all the way down. So are you gonna shame me? Oh, that woman. is absolutely nuts. Yeah. I think if I was Laura's age 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't feel like so much pressure. But it's all fun. I love the process. It just is what it is. One more bag here. This one, oh, this is 40 count lentil. That's what my Jane Atkinson is on. 40 count lentil by Lakeside. Okay, so go back. This is Jane Atkinson by the Scarlet Letter. And I'm using a Vera Soie. And on this one, I don't know what linen I'm using. Oh, I do. Oh, let's see. It's by Lakeside. It's got a greenish tint. What is it called? 40 count lentil. That's what my Jane Atkinson is on. 40 count lentil by Lakeside. Okay, so go back. So this is my His Eyes on the Sparrow by Heartstring Samplery. I love this piece. I also have kitted the Consider the Lilies, which is kind of a companion piece. But this one, His Eyes on the Sparrow, I'm doing this on 36 count Heartland by Picture This Plus. 36 count used to kind of be my go-to, so some of my WIPs are on 36, but that's fine. I don't have a problem. I still just use one strand. And this is where I am on His Eyes on the Sparrow. Again, this is a fat half, and I probably will not use the whole thing, but this is where I am. So I started this on 36 count Heartland by Picture This Plus, and I have a little bit of the border. This is one that I won't do the whole border across because it's pretty intense, and I'll just do a little bit as I go. So that is His Eyes on the Sparrow, and it's a WIP I really want to finish, just like all the others. So that's the last of my WIPs, and that's pretty much all I wanted to show you today. I cleaned my sewing room, so I had thoughts of maybe doing a sewing room tour, but I don't think that'll happen, so that's fine. We'll see. Maybe next week. I also have some quilt plans, some things I want to finish, the applique, hand applique, and also some ones that I want to finish piecing. So that's kind of two categories for me, things that are needing to be appliqued and things that are needing to be pieced. So maybe next week, or maybe I'll wait until 2 weeks when I come back to see you again, and I will show some of the things I want to work on for quilts. I'm almost finished. I have one more quilt to finish quilting of my own. That's a Christmas quilt, and I will finish that before I start doing customers again. And then I have I really have two more Christmas quilts that I need to finish the piecing, and then I can finish quilting those. And then next year I won't have any quilt WIPs for Christmas. I'll be able to just put them out and enjoy them. So anyway, I hope you all have a good new year, and I hope that this finds you happy, healthy, prosperous, all those good things. We don't generally do the whole black-eyed peas, collard greens thing, cornbread thing, but if you do, I hope you enjoy it, and we'll probably have pizza tonight. So anyway, love ya. I'll see you the next time. Bye.